welcome back to Some Assembly Required. Today we're going to be talking about how to turn this 2x2 Lego brick into a 2x2 roof tile brick that is called a 45 degree. And we're going to talk about why it's not quite exactly 45 degrees. So first thing we need to do is copy our original drawing. So if we take here, we'll right click and say duplicate. We'll go into that new tab that just popped up on the bottom. I'm going to right click that, rename it to 2x2 roof tile 45 degree. And from here, if we look at our drawing, I made it yellow, so we're going to make it yellow as well. We're going to use color code F3C301. So again, we'll right click on part 1, rename it, edit the appearance, F3C301, and press enter to accept that color. So now we have our roof tile. It's supposed to be yellow, and our 2x2 brick that we left as blue. So in our first video, we drew a 2x4 brick, and you can kind of see where we started with that original sketch, and we kind of edited down to this 2x2 last week. This week, we're going to take this and turn it into a sloped piece like this, okay? So some dimensions to pay attention to. Our 15.8 is still the same. Our 9.6 is still the same. I didn't give the measurement here for the chain or for the stud height, but it's going to be the same all the way throughout. And this is more of an editing problem and practice than it is a design. Our walls are always 1.2 millimeters in thickness. This is all the same. Everything in here is all the same. So what we need to pay attention to is this 1.6 right here and our 7.9 here, which is where that slope starts, okay? And again, we called it a 45 degree brick, but in reality, it's actually like a 40, I think it's 44.6 or something, so it technically rounds up. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at this front face. We're going to select this and press Shift and S. And notice if we're already oriented, we're looking straight on, but it already adds that sketch, and I don't have to click the sketch afterwards. But if you're not, and you're kind of offset, and you're like this, go ahead and press N to normalize, and that'll lock you into that plane of sketching where we need to be. So I'm going to draw a line, L on the keypad, and click that top to make sure it coincides up here. We'll zoom in a little bit. Coincides up here, and then we're going to come down here to the bottom and just have a line coincide there. Once we're done with that line, go ahead and press the escape key to drop that line tool. And so, like I said, it's 45. So most of you guys would probably go in here and say 45 degrees. And then you get some geometry that's not quite desirable. It's not what we wanted, right? We need this to be a dimension from here to the bottom. It needs to be 1.6. But when I do that, if you check up here, I do this dimension, that's actually 7.8, but I need that to be 7.9. And if I go and I change this, so we'll delete this line, the 1.6, and I'll change this to a 7.9. Well, now this gets changed to a 1.7. So what's locking it in place is it's this 45 degree measurement, okay? I can't have it be 7.9, 1.6, and 45 degrees. Something's got to give. So if we're going to lock these in and be consistent, let's make this 1.6. And now you'll see if we check this measurement, where it lies is 44.64. So not quite 45 degrees, but it rounds to that, okay? Afterwards, we can go ahead and press the green check mark, and you'll see we have this slice now that we can cut out. So from here, we're going to press Shift and E to extrude. We're going to remove, and we're going to say remove that through all, and we'll accept that, okay? This is the easy way to do it, kind of the thought process that most people would go through. Next would be to delete these parts. So I'm going to delete the part. I'm going to delete that part and say okay. But we start adding things to the feature tree that we don't really need to do, right? What we just did here in extrude 8 was already cut stuff out. So I'm going to delete the delete part function, and I'm going to just do it all in one go. So what you can do is, if you're planning ahead and you know you're going to get rid of these things, what you can do is draw a line. We'll come over here and we will draw a line and we'll finish that shape off. So instead of just cutting this region, we're going to cut this region and this region. So when we go into our extrude 8 again, as long as I select that piece as well, I'm also cutting all those out in one go, and we are good to go there. Okay. Now the next step is where it gets a little wonky. Some people might want to do like a move face or a replace face. And this is where surfacing kind of would come into play. But what I like to do, if I'm going to draw this, and what most of my students end up doing, is they'll click this face and then they'll click Shift S. And then they're going to draw a rectangle. This is what I would do, is draw a rectangle from this uppermost corner down to where that cut belongs. Okay. So we're going to do that. The problem that students run into, though, is they'll select this inside piece and here, and then they'll try to extrude just that the other way. And remember, that needs to be a thickness of 1.2 millimeters. And then they run into this, and then they start going through and deleting geometry, thinking they're helping, but they're not. It's making things worse than it is. Okay. So what we need to do is, if we go back into Sketch 8 and we say, hey, we're going to use all of Sketch 8 and then extrude 1.2 and then go the other way, that is what we want. That's our 2x2 roof tile with a 44.64 degree angle. And that's how we get our shape. Okay. But you could do it another way. So I'm going to take this rollback bar and I'm going to actually delete. Actually, I won't use the rollback bar. I'll just delete that extrude 9. That was the easiest way to do it. But I know some people would maybe want to do everything in that same sketch. So if we go back to our sketch, we'll delete Sketch 8 as well. We'll go back to Sketch 7. What I could do here is offset this by 1.2 millimeters. We'll say okay. We'll accept it. And then all I got to do here is take that line up, take that line over, escape that. We'll say all right, and we'll accept. And then the next thing we do is, if we turn our sketch back on, I can take this chunk and then extrude that. And instead of going through all, we're going to say up to face. And we're going to touch this face over here. And we get the same geometry using only one layout sketch. So I prefer doing everything in as many sketches that I possibly can, using one sketch instead of using a bunch of different options. The less features you have, if you can do it in less, the faster you're going to get. But maybe you need to change things later on. Maybe we wanted to add, if this were to be like a Technic piece or something, and there was a hole on the back. Well, maybe I want that hole to be an addition. Or maybe this is something I'm going to do later and I'm going to add a decal. If I was actually working for Lego or something. Bunch of different ways you can go about doing it. But at the end of the day, it all is how efficient are you being with your modeling techniques. So either way will work. What works best for you is obviously what's going to make the models happen in your neck of the woods. But if the boss is asking for one way, but you do it a different way, maybe it's time to learn the boss's way. I try to show a little bit of everything so you can succeed in whatever your project might be. So we'll flip over to my other camera and I will show you the brick. So this is what we were making this week. I turned it into a double the size of what it would actually be. And I also printed a actual size. And at the school right now, I have a 400% size going. And that's kind of the trend I've been doing. So 2 weeks ago, we started with the 2x4 brick. I showed you guys this last week. Couple things to note is the way you print them. So I printed this one with this down, and it's a little cleaner than this one, which I printed with the bottom down, but the top is cleaner. So I still got to clean up my print settings. I'm still getting, you can kind of see it when we put them together, getting some elephant's foot. So we got a big gap in there. You can see it better that way. It's kind of lifting up. So I got some heat issues, some stuff. But we printed out our 2x2s. And these ones I decided to print standing straight up like this. So if you take a look here, we also have some, put something under that so we can see. We have some raising. Oh, there we go. We have some pieces raising. You can kind of see that daylight underneath. It's that elephant's foot that I'm talking about. It's not quite flat, where the other sides are nice and smooth, nice and flat. So I got to dial that in. But they work well. Even with that elephant foot, they still clip together. So we made another one out of some like silky rose gold filament. They're working great. So we are having a blast in class. The kids have been printing like crazy, doing some other models that I might show up on this channel. It's kind of a measurement activity. So if you guys are looking for more ways to like incorporate 3D printing in your class, or you're looking for more projects to do on your own, that's kind of what we can do. I'll show you guys that assignment too. But last thing I wanted to show is with that full size one, even with that elephant foot and some of the issues, it still actually clicks together. So that red 2x4 brick is the Lego branded, and there is mine. A little bit of gap underneath. It's not focusing very well on the camera. But not only does it fit that way, but I can fit it with the studs underneath, and it actually connects that way too. So some cool things that we are trying. Kids are getting ideas, and that's the biggest thing I want to do is teach you, either as a teacher or as a student, to make some new stuff and get out there and figure it out to help you get your job or whatever you want to do in the future. Because, you know, yeah, we're playing with Lego, but I've been playing with Lego since I was a little kid, and it's the reason why I teach the way I teach today. And I mean, you can look around at all the stuff that's behind me, and I got stuff up on the walls here you guys can't really see, but it's turned me into the kind of the engineer that I am today. So if you can break things down from piece by piece standpoint, you're going to be able to make some pretty cool projects and just be able to think about how things work and how things go together. So that's going to do it for us today. Tune in next week, and we will be taking a 2x4 brick like we've been doing, but we're going to turn it into the plate version. So we have those base plates, and we're going to shrink it down to a thinner. So if you're like, you know, I really like these, I like that big brick, but I don't know if I can print one of those on my printer. I think it would take too long and too much filament. I don't have enough resources, whatever. We're going to go down to a smaller plate, a lot less material, same modeling skills. We're going to base it off of this same brick that we started with, and then we'll have our 4 pieces, and then the week after we'll be able to start doing assemblies in the actual program so we can learn how that goes. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out down in the comments below. Any concerns, hopefully not too many, put those down there as well. But if you have any ideas for future videos, reach out as well. Or if you have help or need help on anything, feel free to reach out. I think we're getting to the point where I might have to start a Discord here pretty soon, because I'm getting a lot of questions through email, and I'd rather just respond to them really quick on my phone. So that's going to do it for us. You guys take care. I'll see you next week.